These are the guns that won the war. These are the original. The ones up top are there because they upgraded after this. These guns would only shoot 100, no, not 100, that's 1.5 miles. And the British guns would shoot over 2 miles, so they stayed out far enough so they wouldn't get hit. This is where we are entering Fort McHenry. There is the waterway where the British came in at.
Mostly the breastworks and the fact that they're outnumbered, and they know that. We got about 15,000 men in the breastworks, and they know that because the morning. So they land at North Point at about 6 a.m. and want to march the 14 miles. They expect it'll take them about 12 hours, and the American militia are just going to scatter like they did at the Battle of Bladensburg before they burned Washington. They'll be in Baltimore by 6 p.m.
Flag of Fort McHenry. We're going to have other programs today as well. Next one will be at 11:15. Our one Chesapeake Hawk will be just behind the business. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning.
I don't bite. Everybody hear me okay? Yeah? Splendid. Welcome to Fort McHenry National Modern Historic Shrine. I'm Ranger Brandon. This is Ranger Ray, Ranger D behind him, and our volunteer, Mr. Jim. Welcome to our flag change talk today. So you are now standing in Fort McHenry, the birthplace of the Star-Spangled Banner. It is the only national park of the 429 national parks in the National Park Service to have the designation of a national monument and historic shrine. And that is because of a proclamation issued by President Harry S. Truman in 1948 that states we must fly an American flag above Fort McHenry 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, as a monument to the patriotism that occurs here in the summer of 1814. Now, speaking of President Truman, does anybody know what his middle name is? His name is Harry S. Truman. What does the S stand for? Any guesses?
Star-Spangled Banner.
That's a good guess.
It's just us.
Any other ideas? What was that?
It's just us.
Correct. It is. Because during the War of 1812, you can probably guess what year that war started. It was not going very good for the United States the first year and a half into the conflict. America was having supply issues, logistics, and getting the soldiers and militia in the field trained to match the professional British soldiers in combat. The British have blockaded the eastern coast of the United States, in particular the Chesapeake Bay, to limit American commerce. They've been sailing up and down the Chesapeake, raiding and pillaging and trying to inflict as much damage on the American war effort as possible. And in late August, about 3 weeks prior to the Battle of Fort McHenry, the British will take the American capital, Washington, D.C., and burn the government buildings to the ground. So the White House is burned, the Library of Congress is burned, the seat of government for the United States is on fire. Now, the British will leave all of the private homes untouched. They're just going after the government buildings. But if you were a soldier stationed here in 1814, you could look over in that direction and see the glow of Washington in the distance. Now, after the British have taken the capital, they're going to move on to their next target. Can anybody guess what that will be? Baltimore, yes. Baltimore was America's third largest city, had a population of about 50,000, and it was also one of its largest ports. So Baltimore today, as it was back then, was known for its trading and commerce, but in particular during the War of 1812, it was known for its shipbuilding. In particular, the construction of privateer ships, which are privately funded vessels who are going to receive a special contract called a letter of marque from the United States government that gives this shipping crew permission to sail out and attack British merchant ships. The way to think about them is they're like legalized pirates. They're going to play Yankee Doodle, lower that rain-soaked storm flag, and then they're going to raise up the garrison flag, the 30 by 42 foot Star-Spangled Banner. It took Mary Pickersgill and her 5 helpers 6 weeks to hand-stitch that flag on the floor of a brewery across the street from her house. And they were with that flag above Fort McHenry. Major Armistead ordered that flag, saying it wanted to be so large the British would have no trouble seeing it from a distance. Do you think the British saw it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because by that point the weather has improved, the sun's come out, smoke from the British guns moved away, so the British can see the American flag flying above Fort McHenry. And if the British can see the flag, who can also see the flag? Francis Scott Key, yes. In the very first line of the song, he writes a question. Oh, say, can you see? Can you see the flag? Well, when the weather improves, he gets his answer and sees the flag flying above Fort McHenry. He's so inspired by the patriotism of the defenders and the community coming together to defend the city that when he gets back to Baltimore, he's going to pen a 4-verse poem called The Defense of Fort McHenry. Paired to music, it will become the Star-Spangled Banner. And as we would say today, this song goes viral. It's going to spread across the country with no radios, no telephones, just by newspapers, word of mouth, spreading across the different states in the span of 1 month. It resonates with the people because it gives a personal meaning and connection to the flag. Before this event, the United States flag was seen as the symbol of the nation, but there wasn't a story or a personal connection to the flag itself. And what happens here gives the American people that personal connection, that story associated with the symbol of the country.
Every morning at 10 a.m., the public is allowed to come and view the raising of the flag, and they are allowed to participate in it.
Very well.
Answer. We are discussing the final dispositions of our defense.
It's merely a matter of time. The defense of Washington City was a disgrace. The cursed militia broke and ran in the utmost confusion before the campaign. This cannot happen here.
It will not. We will not surrender this fort. Evans, report.
We're all hurry and confusion. I have 60 men making musket cartridges and the casting of ball, and preparing artillery ammunition as well. Muskets.
Last instructions, locking ships to prevent the British passing should they attack. Remember, the church bells will ring, signaling the arrival of the British. Gentlemen, I'm going to put these maps out. So many preparations have been made.
Poor things. Common to have bed bugs here, and only one blanket to sleep on. Okay. Interesting gun rack over there. This is the waterway where the British was trying to attack the fort. And this is where they held Francis Scott Key out into the water to keep him from coming back from negotiations. And what you will see here is that this same bridge that's across this waterway from the fort is the bridge that was hit by the cargo ship a few months ago. And you can see that history has happened here twice. This is a arrow that points out to the direction where Francis Scott Key was looking into the fort while he was being detained by the soldiers after trying to do a negotiation. He could look from that direction straight to where the flag was, and this is where he saw the flag was still there.